Hey, you're now in the den with Dr. Jenn, a safe and comfortable place to explore female sexuality from a variety of perspectives and start thinking about sexuality outside this box. Den Chat today: how to be an advocate for your own health and well-being, particularly around sexual health. Now, in a society that allows others to be experts about our bodies, and that so many of us experience a disconnect between body and mind, and therefore it's difficult to hear our body's messages, I think this is a really important skill to learn. So what does it mean to be an advocate for your own sexual health? It means knowing that you have power over your body and your choices. It means just knowing that you have choices in the first place. And it means putting yourself in the driver's seat. Now, we all have various obstacles to healthy living, such as income level, genetics, values and beliefs around health, disabilities, access to health care, etc. But within the cards we're dealt, there's always more we can do to empower ourselves. And here are 4 suggestions for you. First, knowledge is power, so do your own research. Obviously, the internet is a wealth of knowledge, but you have to be smart about wading through accurate and less than accurate information. Many national organizations connected to health and diseases have websites that are accurate and up to date. I also recommend checking out alternative health sites to get some varying opinions and options. And of course, your local library and bookstore are fabulous for health information. Number 2, talk to your family and friends. Others may have had similar experiences, and just asking for support and receiving it has a huge impact on our emotional well-being, which is intimately linked to our physical well-being. Number 3, listen to your inner voice. And I mean this in 2 different ways. First, sit quietly and ask yourself questions, and wait to hear your body's inner wisdom speaking. Now, I know this can be difficult because of a disconnect between mind and body, and also because it can just be hard to sit and be quiet. But you might be surprised by what you hear. And secondly, around inner wisdom and inner voice, what I mean is also paying attention to all of that mind chatter, the inner dialogue and harsh judging. Are you beating yourself up mentally? Are you your own worst enemy? Do you undermine yourself? This can be strongly linked to our self-esteem and body image, and just noticing this chatter can be really powerful. And 4th, ask questions with your doctors and other healthcare workers. I know this seems obvious, but it isn't always that easy. When you call or come in, have a list of questions and concerns with you written down already, and take notes while you're there. This can help you plan ahead and keep you organized. And as difficult as all this can be, try not to be put off by a medical professional who doesn't seem pleased having to answer your questions. Repeat back what you're hearing so you can get verification that the information is correct, because it really can be very confusing and overwhelming. Now, although there is so much more we can do to be advocates for ourselves, and some of these may seem a little obvious, this list can give you some ideas to make sure you're not just going along for the ride in the passenger seat. Sexual fun fact number 85. Since we're talking about knowledge as power, I'll ask you, what is the most popular women's health advocacy book in existence for 35 years that offers greater knowledge and control for women? I bet you know this. Yeah! Our Bodies, Ourselves. I love this book. I think the way it's written and the breadth of information covered is fabulous. They provide clear, truthful information about health, sexuality, and reproduction from a feminist and consumer perspective. I use it as a textbook in my women in health class that I teach, and my students even like it. And it's cheap. This big-ass book is only $25 new. The Den recommend. The reason that the topic of women being advocates for their own health came to mind for me recently is because of a website and support group that a former student of mine has recently started around women and endometriosis. Sarah Leonard suffered through undiagnosed endometriosis for her entire teen years, and finally, at the age of 22, had to undergo a hysterectomy. Since she was so young, she didn't have the knowledge or ability to be an advocate for herself, and no one believed her when she repeatedly described how painful her cramps were. She explains that it wasn't until she joined the Women's Studies program at Cal State San Marcos that she gained a trust of her inner knowledge and was able to regain some of her lost self-esteem. And so that other women in Southern California do not have to suffer the same lack of emotional support, she started the group and website Endo Empowerment. I think this is such a wonderful example of using a personal traumatic experience to improve the lives of others. And a quote from Sarah's story about endometriosis. The ER was going to give me a hysterectomy because I was hemorrhaging so badly. So I signed my release papers and left untreated. My symptoms only got worse, and the pressure to have a hysterectomy did as well. This drove me into a deep depression. I couldn't understand why nobody could get how I was feeling. One of the worst parts about this disease is that you cannot see it externally. It is kept inside. I felt very alone and very afraid. And after 2 laparoscopies and lots of painkillers, I was in bad shape. I couldn't stand upright any longer. The pain was so severe, I couldn't function, and I felt as though I was going crazy. Being in pain every day started to take over my life. My point is this. I know that if I had had the support and resources then that I do now, my fight would have been different. The education and resources that I found later in life have been a never-ending support to me. I want women to feel like they have all of the support and courage they need to make informed decisions about what is best for them personally. I want every woman fighting endo to have the same support that I currently have, because I gotta tell you folks, having choices, support, and knowledge make all the difference in your life. Thank you, Sarah, for having the strength to share your story so that other women can take a different path. Well, that wraps up another Den session. So if you want to comment about women's health advocacy or endometriosis, visit me at DrJennsDen.com or email me at Jennifer@DrJennsDen.com. So speak up for yourself and be kind to yourself. Oh. Yeah, I just got a cramp. You probably don't want to know that. But
Breakfast burrito, you had cramp in your thigh?
No, menstrual cramp.
We didn't want to know that.
You're like, oh.